Thank you for joining this lesson. We're going to study some statistics. We are told in number 17 that the table below shows frequency distribution of marks scored by students in a test. So we have marks, the frequencies part A. On the grid provided, draw an ogive for the data. It should be noted that an ogive is a cumulative frequency curve, in other words. So we usually plot cumulative frequencies against upper class boundaries. Therefore, if we have a column of the cumulative frequencies for the above data, then we will start with 2. Then the next will be, we add 4. The next will be 6. We add 8 to 14. We add 4 to 18. And we add 2 to 20. So these are the cumulative frequencies. So now we will draw a cumulative frequency curve by having cumulative frequency in the vertical axis. So cumulative frequencies are going to fit in the vertical axis. So I'll start here. Then on this other axis, we're going to have the upper class boundaries. The upper class boundaries. So here, I'm going to have upper class boundaries, but here I'm going to have the cumulative frequencies of the data. Therefore, we can start with 0 for the vertical axis. Then we use intervals of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. Then on this other axis, I can move from the first one to be 0.5. Yeah, I can begin with 0.5 in a broken axis. So that I use, for every 2 boxes, I use 10 units. So that I'll go to 10.5, then 20.5, then 30.5, 40.5, 50.5, 60.5, and such. So that is how the upper class boundaries will be. Therefore, I'm going to start with the first upper class boundary and the respective cumulative frequency. So we have 10.5 as the upper class boundary, and it will be plotted against 2. So 10.5 against 2. 10.5 against 2. This will be the coordinate. Then we will have the second one, 20.5 against 6. So 20.5 against 6. That's where it will be. Then the other one will be 30.5 against 14. So 30.5 against 14. 30.5 here against 14. So 30.5 and 14 should be somewhere here. Yes. The next one be 40.5. 40.5 against 18. So 40.5 goes against 18, which is here. 40.5 against 18. And finally, 50.5 against 20. 50.5 against 20. So against 20, it will be here. So we can see the dots are already suggesting a cumulative frequency curve, and we are going to come up with it. Therefore, I'm going to draw the cumulative frequency curve. Cumulative frequency curve, whereby I will start from the last one. Remember, a curve is supposed to be continuous, very continuous, very continuous. very continuous. So this is our ogive. This is our ogive. So after drawing the ogive, now there are questions which come after this ogive. We are told, for instance, to use the graph to determine the pass mark if only 6 students passed. So if only 6 students passed, then we are going to say that if it is 6 students passing, so we're going to have 6 students are here, 6 students is here, then we move along that curve, 6 students, so we are finding 6 students, and this is at 20.5. So 6 students on the column of marks, we have 20.5 against 6 students. So this means if 6 students only passed, and we can see they are at 20.5, this is from the lower end, and we can see the total marks were 50. The total marks were 50. Then we will take 50 minus 20.5, and this will give us 29.5. This will give us 29.5 as the pass mark. So the pass mark is going to be 29.5. That is if only 6 students passing. Remember, we are seeing 6 students, or if not so, we use 6 students passing. So 6 students from the upper side, 6 students from the upper side. So from 20, the 6th student will be at 14. Yeah, the 6th student will be at 14, because if they passed, then it means they are the ones with the upper marks. So from 14, we can see, because the 6th student from the upper side will be number 14. So we can see the pass mark will be 30.5. Actually, that is how now we should approach it. 30.5, not even 29. So Roman 1, the answer is going to be 30.5 marks. That will be the marks, because if only 6 students are passing, then it means they are the first 6 from the upper side. So from 20th until we get 6 students, we will be at 14. Therefore, the 14th student is having 30.5. We can get to the other question, which is telling us to find the quartile deviation. The quartile deviation. Quartile deviation, we need to get Q1, which is a quarter of the total students. Then Q3, which is 3/4 of the total students. 3/4 of the total students. So a quarter of this student will be the 5th student. Then 3/4 of this student will be the 15th student. So we can check 15th student's mark and the 5th student's mark, so that we may know Q1 and Q3. So 15th student mark, if this is 14 and 16, then we're going to say 15th student is somewhere in between. Then we move along that line. And see the mark he is going to have. So the mark this student is having is the mark, just one small square after 30.5. And because 10 small squares are meaning or representing 10 marks, then we shall have one small square representing 1 mark. So this is 31.5. So Q3 is going to be 31.5. Then there is something called Q1, which is going to be the 5th student. So the 5th student will be somewhere between 4 and 6. So between 4 and 6 until we cut the curve, it is somewhere here. So when we get down now from this point, you'll find that this student is somewhere before 20. So we are at 10.5. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. This could have been 18.5. So between 17.5 and 18.5, between 17.5 and 18.5, we have exactly 18. So this is going to be 18.0. So Q1 student or Q1 max is 18 and Q3 max is 31.5. Therefore, we're going to get Q3 minus Q1 out of 2 so that we may get quartile deviation. So this is going to be 31.5 minus 18 and we divide by 2. So 31.5 is going to give us, when we divide by 2, 6.75. So that is going to be the quartile deviation. Thank you for following. Subscribe and share.